So the Archon War was an era of various power struggles between the gods that began several thousand years ago, for unknown reasons of course, although scholars in Tibet believe it began over 7 divine seats in Celestia, while different regions settled their power struggles at different times. The new era drew close to 1,000 years ago, after of course the final seat was claimed. So what actually happened in the Archon War? Who were the gods that participated in the war, and who emerged victorious? So yeah, we'll find all the answers to these questions. And yep, I will make more parts of this war, cause there's no info available of the Archon War except Liyue, Mondstadt and of course Inazuma. So what was the Archon War actually? Well, according to Soraya, the war began as a struggle over the 7 divine seats in Celestia, both for supremacy and to see their plans for a prosperous humanity to come to fruition. However, not all gods participated in the war with the intent of taking a divine seat. Some wanted to defend their territory, while others didn't even want to fight and tried to save as many people as possible from the destruction of the war. Well, an alternative explanation is that the death of the gods removed the divine seats that previously existed in Celestia, and the 7 were either the gods who kept their seats by prevailing other gods, or were beings who ascended the godhood after defeating gods of old. For example, Digabrion's death resulted in the crumbling of an ancient seat of divinity, while Barbatos ascended to godhood and became the enemy Archon. So after the 7 were established, most defeated gods fled Tibet and took refuge in the Dark Sea, which is of course the land outside Tibet, where the 7 has no dominion, and the defeated gods later on became the evil god. However, some gods choose to cooperate with the 7 and even became important figures, such as Andreas. So yeah, first let's talk about Mondstadt. In the time of the Archon Wars, the city of Mondstadt was located in the area currently known as Storm Terror's lair, but it was a civilization sealed away from rest of the world by the Caribbean. So the god of storms, the Caribbean subjects, were prisoners who worshipped the storm god out of fear, which he mistook as genuine devotion. He had good reasons for shielding his city, as the rest of the Mondstadt was desolate, frigid tundra created by Andreas, king of the north and the dominator of wool. The entire region likely resembled Dragonspine as it is currently, but eventually the Caribbean's lovers, Amos, grew disenchanted with her paramour, as she described to see outside world, with the help of the Gunhilder clan, a knight, a bard, both of whom have yet to be named, and a wind spirit named Barbatos. Amos attempted to stage an intervention for the Caribbean, and the storm god savagely attacked her without hesitation, allowing Barbatos to ascend to Celestia, and by overthrowing the Caribbean, he later on became the first lord of Anemo. Andreas, however, for his part, realized that Barbatos was better suited for the job and guiding humanity, and he also helped Barbatos to rule Mondstadt. Now let's talk about Liyue. So the current ruins in the Gyori Plains are the remnant of an ancient city that was under the protection of Morak, god of contracts, and Guizong, god of dust. Morax and Guizong fought against gods valiantly, but Guizong was ultimately slain, and her once splendorous city was devastated. Morax led the survivors south of Mount Yanhing and established a city that would eventually become Liyue Harbor to protect his people from enemy gods, demons, and monsters. Morax employed dozens of adepti and yakshas, and yes, the traveler encountered many of the surviving adepti over the course of Liyue Archon's quest. However, not all the Archons were great warriors, nor did all Archons aspire to ascend to Celestia. The salt goddess Habria was kind, humble, and held relatively little power. Rather than fighting, she made concessions to other gods to protect her people and spare them suffering. Unfortunately, her own followers chafed against her gentle rule. Deserving a god with great aspirations and powers, the king of Harvia's people was the one to slay the salt goddess, dooming himself and his subjects in the process. A weak god is still a god, and when Habria was slain, her energy was violently released, reducing everyone in her domain to salt. And yes, players can still find piles of salts in the area of Salt Terrae. And if we talk about Inazuma, so there is very little information about the Archon War in Inazuma. So as far as I know, Baal, that goes by the title Raiden Shogun, is the god of eternity who rules over Inazuma. This god didn't participate in the Archon War. Yup, that's right. Baal was not involved in the Archon War, so that means she is clearly younger than 2000 and older than 500. However, the Inazuma archipelagos were united under the rule of the Electro Archon, the Raiden Shogun, which was Raiden Makato, also known as Baal, with her twin sister Raiden E, Beelzebul, serving as her Kagemusha, while the people of Watasumi Island worshipped another god known as Orobashi. They cooperated with the Electro Archon until Orobashi's rebellion against the Shogun. However, there is a line that states Orobashi died during the Archon War, assuming both statements statements are true, Makato may have become the Electro-Archon before the Archon War ended 2000 years ago, and then Orobachi attacked Yashihori Island at some point between their victory and the Archon's war official end. However, there is currently too little information to determine the exact time and order of these events. So what's the conclusion? As the Archon War drew to close 2000 years ago, only the 7 remained, making Teyvat into the 7 nations we know of. The many of the defeated gods who refused to live under the new order of the 7 fled to remote islands outside of their rule. Only Barbatos and Morax remain the current Archons, who are original victors of the Archon War, while the other 4 has been replaced over the past 2000 years. Baal died 500 years ago in a cataclysm and has been replaced by her twin sister named Beelzebub under the name Baal. So yeah, my dear Hillbillies Rituals, this was the first part of the video. So if you like this video, then give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to this channel. So now take care, my dear Hillbillies Rituals.